So I did say to you that we might go into the lunch hour a little bit. It's 12:11. So actually, if everyone's still okay, and I'm going to ask, we're at the point now where I just need to excuse the alternates, and you've got the case to deliberate. And I'll talk to you a little bit about if you decide, because remember, you're going to set your schedule. When you walk out this courtroom to deliberate, you're in charge of your schedule. So you can decide if you want to take a lunch break before you start deliberating. So, but at this point, all we have left to do is, before you start deliberating and set your schedule to do that, is to select the alternates. So is there anyone that really needs a break right now? This doesn't take much longer. I haven't timed myself over the years, but I think we're talking about 5 more minutes maybe. Does anybody need a break right now and can't wait, 5 to 10 minutes? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. I just felt like at this point we could let these folks go, so they don't have to continue to be here if they're not needed right now. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, when I read the final instructions, you may probably have noticed that I said all 12 of you must agree upon a verdict. And you also probably noticed that there are more than 12 of you. In criminal cases such as this, the law requires a jury of 12 individuals to consider a verdict in a case. We impanel alternates to ensure that we will have a sufficient number of jurors to decide the case at the end of trial. For example, if we had only impaneled 12 of you, and then one of you became ill or had an emergency, we already know we had one juror that did have such an emergency. Well, then if the court wasn't carrying out, if we didn't have alternates, then we could not continue the trial. So would not have been able to complete the trial. So we impanel alternate jurors as needed to make sure we can be ready for any unforeseen circumstance. We don't inform you about the use of alternate jurors for 2 reasons. First, we don't want you to concern yourselves with whether you will be selected as an alternate and therefore take your attention away from the important matters of trial. Secondly, we only know at the end of a trial if an alternate is truly needed. We don't identify the alternate juror because that person is not selected until this portion of the trial, when the clerk randomly selects an alternate by lot. So Brooke, what she's done, and this is always our practice, she's cut up your names and she's put it into a little container and she's shaken it up and she'll pull them out. It's completely random. All right, so our clerk now will select an alternate by pulling the names, I believe 2, right? I'm going to pull the two alternates from a container here in open court. And so go ahead, Brooke. Brooke will announce the 2 alternates. Okay. Now let me explain. I've got to just give you a little bit more information. Folks that have been drawn as the alternate jurors, your names have just been drawn as an alternate juror. While you will be physically excused from your service as a juror at this time, there remains a possibility that you may be called back to court to deliberate should one of the other jurors be unable to do so. And I want to tell you, this is very important. It has happened. All right? Now, the bailiff will retain your notes and notebooks for your use if you are called back. The admonition continues to apply to you folks that are alternate jurors. Please do not discuss the case with anyone or let anyone talk to you about it until someone from my office, it'll either be Mike, our bailiff, or Crystal Stump, my judicial assistant, Mike Wildermuth. One of them are going to notify you if a verdict has been reached. So the alternate jurors, Crystal's, I think, going to come in and help with that. Crystal, could you come in? So the alternate jurors, oh, there she is. She's over there. All right, so Crystal will escort you out. Please, again, leave your notebooks with Mike. Mike will take custody of your notebooks. But in case I don't see you again, I want to thank you as I thank every juror. Thank you so much for your service to your community. Our system of justice in this country would not work without individuals such as almost ready to, and I sure appreciate your willingness to stay while we do this part, including Dahlia's. Okay. The clerk will now swear in the bailiff.
Do you solemnly swear that you will take charge of this jury and attend to them during all of their deliberations? While in your charge, you will allow no one to communicate with them nor do so yourself unless required in the legal discharge of your duties, and that you will return them into court when they have arrived at a verdict, so help you God.
Ladies and gentlemen, and again, I'll let you know when to leave here. We're getting close here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're now going to go to the jury room and deliberate. Please take your notes and your notebooks with you. The bailiff will bring you any of the admitted exhibits that you request. So any admitted exhibits that you request and you want to review, he will bring to you. Just let him know what you want brought to you. Sometimes jurors have questions during deliberations. If that is the case with you, please do not hesitate to write down your questions if we can be of assistance. All the questions must be written on a form provided to you by the bailiff. Please do not ask the bailiff any questions, as he will not be permitted to answer any of your questions. The bailiff will bring any written questions to me, and I will discuss your questions with counsel. And we will do our best to be helpful in answering the question if we can. Members of the jury, you are under no obligation to return a verdict today. You should take whatever time you need to discuss the case with each other in an attempt to reach a verdict. You get to set your schedule now. You're in charge of your schedule. And just remember, I just want to remind you, I already instructed you on this. But if you decide to take a break, remember, you cannot deliberate and talk about the case unless you're all in the room together. Just an important reminder. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you are excused to deliberate. Right. Please be seated. Record will reflect the jury's been excused to deliberate. Dahlia, thank you so much for being a trooper, truly, and hanging in there this morning. So, counsel, I know you know the protocol, and Crystal, I'm sure, already has your cell phone numbers, but just please make sure we've got your cell phone numbers, so we get a juror question or a verdict, we can get a hold of you as quickly as possible. And I'm just going to say this, I've had many trials with the two of you, and I always have made a practice of when I think someone's done a good job to tell them that. And I want to tell you, those were the best closing arguments I have ever seen. And I've been practicing law, and I've been a judge for a very long time. And I appreciate your true professionalism. The way you conducted this trial is the way you conduct every trial you've ever done with me. And I truly, truly appreciate it. We're excused.